Hey guys, welcome to Wedding Film Girl. I'm Kelly Waddell, and today we're going to go over 3 checklists that you might want if you're a rookie wedding filmmaker. Number 1 is probably the most obvious. You're probably going to want to use a gear list for your first several weddings. Eventually this becomes mostly mental. I don't know, occasionally I still write down if I'm just feeling kind of frantic or disorganized or something right before a wedding day, and I want to make sure that I grab everything that I could possibly need. I usually lay all my stuff out on the floor so that I can see everything visually and just go through all the different categories of what I think I will need for a wedding day. And generally I don't bring too much. I think I've just about nailed like the minimum amount of gear that I can bring. And recently I bought a wagon. So if you have a good amount of gear and you're carrying it all in on your shoulders, especially as a single shooter like I first started out as, that can get really crazy and people look at you funny when you're walking out of a wedding at the end of the night and you don't want to make 2 trips and you just look like a pack mule. So if you want to avoid that, maybe consider getting one of those fold up like cargo wagons from Costco or something. That's really been a lifesaver for me. I've included a free download of a gear checklist. It's similar to what kind of gear that I bring, but I left it kind of, I don't know, vague so that you could put in your own stuff. Ideally what you would do is just copy it and then change it to kind of what your gear looks like. But it gives you the different categories like cameras, lenses, stabilization, audio and lighting, and then just other things like power strips and chargers, because if you have an A7S II like me, you're probably going to want to cycle through some batteries during the wedding and just keep going. The number 2 checklist is actually a shot list, and you may or may not want to bring this with you. I wouldn't personally, because I wouldn't want to be pulling it out of my pocket and like checking it at the wedding. If it's your first wedding, if that helps you, go ahead and do it. But I would say for the most part, just make a shot list ahead of time or copy one down from somewhere else. There's lots of places that you can find them. If you just Google search a wedding shot list, copy them down and just study it and kind of think about the process throughout the day. And it kind of depends on the timeline. We'll get to that in a second. But think about the whole day. Like, so when bride prep, I need this shot, and this shot. I want to make sure I get a dress shot. I want to make sure I get when she's putting the dress on. I want to make sure I get, if the rings are really important to you or the shoes. Just think through the process of the day and know which shots you're going to want to get where. That way you don't get there and you'll be like, oh, what do I shoot? But a shot list will really help you think all of that through and know what you have when you get back to the editing room. Number 3 is more of like a timeline, but it's also a checklist because you want to communicate with your couples beforehand to kind of know what exactly they're doing and when. So you need to talk to your couples beforehand and see if they're doing like a first look. Who's the first look going to be with? Is it going to be with dad, the groom? Are they going to have one with the bridesmaids? I haven't seen one with the groomsmen yet, but that's a really good idea. Anyway, you want to know what's happening on the day of the wedding, and so that you will be there, especially if you're a single shooter, because it can get really dicey when you're trying to be 2 places at once. You really need to plan out your timeline as detailed as possible before the day actually gets there. And one pro tip, I would take the timeline and put it as your screensaver on your phone. That way you always have it on you. You're not looking it up or unfolding a piece of paper out of your pocket that's going to get lost throughout the day. You always have it right there as your screensaver, and you can just look at it real quick or show it to someone else real quick, because the photographer and the DJ and everybody else also need to have a timeline. That will make your day go so much smoother. I hope these tips help you feel more comfortable when you go to shoot your first couple of weddings. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and if you have ideas for what topics you want me to cover, please leave them as a comment below.